I'm here today. The Dream Foundation set me up here to make a wish. My wish was to see Bukshot.
Of course, I've been collaborating with Bukshot for a long time now, and he told me the situation and everything that's going on, and of course I want to be a part of it. I love being creative anyway, and especially if there's a cause behind it, and and obviously the situation is, I had stage 4 lymphoma when I was 21, and I've been through it. I'm one of the fortunate ones, but it definitely, it's something that I live with every day. It makes you, anytime there's something wrong with me at all, I'm freaking out, and I'm living for the day. I don't really plan for the future, which sucks because you should, but when you don't know if you're gonna have one or not, it makes you walk on eggshells.
I was contacted about 3 weeks ago by a very nice lady from the Dream Foundation. And the Dream Foundation is the only organization in the United States that make dreams happen for adults who have terminal illnesses.
I have, I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I've been battling it for 9 years, Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer. The social worker at the hospital found a foundation that grants dreams for adults. And they asked me what I'd want to do. And I chose to meet Bukshot.
And she, basically called me and said, do you know a guy named James Gilbert? And I was like, yeah, and I had no idea, that he was sick in any kind of way or whatever. And I was like, he's like been a fan of mine for like many years. It's like he like orders everything that we put out on the website, and on Twitter, like him and I interact on Twitter, and he just like he's a super hardcore supporter. And she told me that that he had been diagnosed many years ago with Hodgkin's disease, and that I guess it had came back out of remission, and just that his doctor said that he could be doing a lot better, and that they had applied for to make a dream come true with he wanted to meet me. He actually wanted to see me perform live at a show, and so I told them I had 3 shows coming up in March, and they felt that March was too far off, and just like, are there any other options of, he just wants to at least meet you, and said that, he's been a fan for a while, and he's never got to meet me, and he's met a lot of some of his favorite artists, and, he wanted to meet me. And I was like, well, let me think about, what we could possibly do. And then I called her back. I was actually on the road. I was actually on a road trip on the way to Indianapolis, and I just kind of drove and thought about it, and I was like, I got a good idea. And I called her back, and I was like, we might not be able to make a concert happen, but what if I scheduled studio time? I was like, anybody can go to a concert, but not anybody can just pop in a studio and see a actual recording session with the artist.
He's a really nice guy, and I like talking to him. So they set it up for me to meet him, come to the studio and watch him record a song, and hang out with him the whole day, which has been great and awesome. Having a great time.
And she was like, wow, I can't believe you do that. And I was like, it's no thing at all. And I was like, I even have a cooler idea. I was like, he's such a huge supporter of what I'm doing. I know he knows who Demi is. Demi and I have done 30 tracks together, and he's been in videos, and Demi's one of my best friends. I was like, man, I bet if I called Demi and told him, Demi'd be there. And
I'm just glad to be a part of this. I'm glad that Bukshot reached out to me. One, to meet him and be a part of this, and 2, for the music,
I told her about you. I was like, you know what? I was like, one of my other best friends, Antonio, he shoots all my videos. I was like, man, I could, bring Antonio out. He could meet him. I just kind of wanted it to kind of be like a little mini gathering of, people that he's familiar with, on my end of the music spectrum.
I like him because he's like a down-to-earth guy. not like big-headed and superstar. Like he's just down to earth, like a regular person, and I like his songs.
Let's just do it. You know, we'll get James and his wife down here, and we'll get the studio reserved, and we'll come in and kind of show him, you know, he's never been in a studio before, so kind of show him what it's like to be in the studio, and that we're all like really down to earth, laid back. You know, my homie Casey Hustle, you know, he owns Mob Style with me. He came down and drove, picked everybody up, and we all went out and did lunch. And you know, we're here at the studio, just knocked out the feature, and I think everybody's having a really good time. And you know, we just we want to honor James, you know, his time on Earth and his time here, because everybody knows time is precious, and you know, time is not guaranteed for any of us.
I was having a really bad day one day when they gave me a whole bunch of diagnoses. Around the time Weirdo came out, and they said that my lungs were getting bad. I was having problems eating, losing a lot of weight, and 3 or 4 different things all at once. And I had doctor's appointments the whole day. I came home, and the Weirdo CD was waiting in the mail for me. And I popped it in, started listening to it, and got to the Hero song. And it just made my day, after all that bad stuff in the day, hearing that song, and made that day a whole lot better.
Back when I was sick, it was a shock at first, and it pissed me off, and it hurt, it did. But what hurt even more was seeing how it affected the people around me. And I think when you're going through something like that, you become very selfless. You start caring about everyone around you a lot more than you do yourself. And a lot of times people will get to that point where they're like, I'm fine. They just know it. They're at peace with it. You know what I mean? But they want everybody around them to be okay. And that was my experience.
You know, it's really important that to maximize the time that we have with the ones that we care about immediately like that, and the ones who love us, because you never know when it's going to be your time. And, you know, just while we're here, you have to make the best of it.
So my lungs are kind of like on their last leg. So if I get a cold or an infection or anything, pretty much anything like the common cold, pretty much kill me and get me hospitalized. So that's why they gave me the Dream Foundation. We put in for it before I got too sick and couldn't really do anything.
Video immortalizes people. You know, it doesn't matter if Demi and I disappear tomorrow.
At that time, I actually kind of made peace with it. It was like, if it happens, it happens. So like, let's be with the family as much as we can, and write as much as I can, and document the life that I have, and appreciate it all, you know. And I just happen to be one of the fortunate ones. My sister, not so much. I lost her last year to colon cancer.
Out of all the artists that he could ask them to meet, that he wanted to meet me. And like, I'm honored that, you know, I could be part of his dream to, you know, to make all this happen today.
About you, it ain't about me. This whole thing's way bigger than we both see. We all know that life is a test. We all fail being human, I guess. Dark days where you can't